I'll call this meeting of the Board of Assessors to order. It's 6:02, and we are being taped by the West Bridgewater Community TV. Mr. Donahue?
Mr. Chairman, the first order of business is a representative of CAI Technologies, Mr. Tim Fountain, is here to give a presentation on the mapping software that the board recently purchased the license for.
Okay, good.
Mr. Fountain?
Hi, Tim. Steve McCarthy, the chair. Good to see you,
meet you,
yeah.
sir.
No,
Yeah.
Paula?
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And before I forget,
Tim, nice to meet you.
Cheryl Smith has a family emergency. She will not be.
Right, I got the email, okay, yeah.
This is my contact, John, I know you have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you do.
Thanks, Tim.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much for your invitation. I appreciate taking a little bit of your time.
Sure.
Would you like the room darker, or does it make a difference?
It depends on, I apologize if I have my back to you guys, talking to you, it's just this is how we're set up.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it's, and if, ask me to speak up too, you know, because I'll be
Thank
directed
you.
this way, yeah. So, just a real quick introduction, again, Tim Fountain, I'm Vice President of CAI Technologies, one of 3 owners of the company. We're a relatively small company, employ about 30 staff, serve about 400 local, regional, county governments in the northeastern US, and we're a GIS vendor, we're a GIS consulting firm.
Okay, good.
The services we provide for you folks are the annual updating of your mapping system, the annual tax map maintenance services, and recently you purchased our online GIS platform. I'm here to give a quick overview of that at your request. And please, if I go too fast or you have a question, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. I understand you have other items on your agenda.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fine.
So what you're going to see right now, we've completed our initial build, and the site is under password protection, so it's not out available to the public yet. The next step is to have feedback from you folks, and we have another little piece of technology that we want to install on a computer in the assessor's office that allows you to, your Patriot, right?
Right.
Patriot community, that allows you to take the Patriot data and push it up to the web. That way, if Smith sells to Jones, you have the ability to automatically refresh that data yourself without ever talking to us. Okay, that piece needs to, installation needs to happen, as well as your feedback. Once that's complete, go ahead.
Is that because the job mapping allowed access to the property record card from the mapping?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. And you'll see me demonstrate a quick abutters list. We want to make sure we have current and accurate owners on those abutters lists.
That always helps, sure.
So once you give us our feedback and we install that tool at your request, you just need an email, we'll take the password off, it'll be live out there for the world to access. We recommend a hyperlink from either your assessor's page or somewhere on the county website, okay? Any general questions before I get going?
Just a quick
Yeah,
question. You were just
sure.
talking about that extra thing you want to add on. Is that an additional cost
No,
or is
no,
that
no,
included?
that's already included. It's just a piece of software that we write that allow, and we do it in every community.
Okay.
It's just part of the base product that when you make changes in your Patriot system, in order to see them up on this platform, you have to run this tool,
Okay.
okay? Called a data processor. All right. Oh, that's great, isn't it?
So far, so good.
Oh,
What is that white thing on the wall?
well, that I'm going to talk about in a minute.
That's the high school.
Yeah, so I was just on here connected to the internet. Oh, all right, there we go. All right, I don't know what's happened. So you won't see this login when you tell us to take it off. Under review, you will. Obviously, you'll put in your credentials there. And when you load the map, this is what you'll see. Okay, this is up. So this is called an interactive GIS, interactive mapping. So you can zoom in, and as you zoom in, more data, more layers get turned on. We zoom all the way down in here, we start seeing the buildings, we start seeing, now this is the tax map data. This is the same exact data that we maintain, and if you go to the specific tax map, you'll see this data.
It shows the meets and bounds, that's good.
Okay, yeah, these are the dimensions
A lot
that
of
are
the towns
actually on
don't,
the
yeah,
text. Yeah. I'm just going to use a couple of these buttons. I'll try to point them out when I do. This brings me back to my full extent of where I load. Okay, there's no editing on this platform. So the only sort of data that can be changed right now would be that Patriot push, that Patriot exchange of data up there. So users can't get in and edit any of these layers. They can't change any of the information. Worst thing that can happen is you get frustrated, you restart the site. Okay? So I'll do a quick demonstration of how it's typically used. I'll try to go through and touch each button.
Okay.
Down here is what I call our housekeeping. I don't know if you guys behind me can see, but a little bit about a disclaimer. I want to stop at help. This is where people will go. No one uses this, but this is where people would go to answer questions. So if I want to know how to run an abutters list, I click this and it tells me, okay? So I want to point that out. Also feedback. This is feedback both for every single user as well as the staff users. How can we make this site better? What can we do better? What button, what tool? This is how new technology, new buttons and tools get in the site, okay? This lock and key, this is just for staff users. There's a certain set of tools that you folks have that aren't necessarily designed for general public use. This is where we would serve out other layers of data that don't go to the public. A great example I always use is sometimes we'll get a layer of all the citizens that are on oxygen, let's say. Police and fire want that, but it's not necessarily out there in the public domain, okay? So, typical searching on the map. I can search here by parcel number, owner address, or street address. So there's always Smiths in New England towns, so I'm gonna go with Smith.
Yes.
So when I type in Smith, it brings me back 33 Smiths, 33 blue pins on the map, and here are my Smiths. The data you see here, this is your Patriot data. The photos you see here, this is what came from your Patriot system, okay? So I can write a report, get all the Smiths by clicking this button, or download this to a CSV file. I can generate mailing labels from it, or I can add or remove by clicking on the map. That's the common way people search, okay? By typing information in this box. Another way people search, if I just zoom in, please interrupt me if you have questions, is by interacting with the map. So let's say I want to know all the users in this area. I just query the map by clicking on it, drawing a circle, and it brings me back the 29 users, okay? Now when I find a property I want, I click on it, it zooms me to that particular property and gives me what's called a pop-up,
Yeah.
okay? I should have said this earlier, but this application is available on your smartphone, your tablet or mobile device, as well as a browser like I'm using now. So there's no separate app that you have to download or any other technology that you need to download to use it. You just need to have power and internet. Those are the two requirements, okay? So when I have this pop-up up, and I can close this information, and I can slide these panels back and forth if I want. When I have a property in yellow here selected, here's where I get my information in this pop-up. So here's where we'll serve out any documents and links. So for example, if
Can you
I...
move the box over to the left?
Oh,
Just-
yeah.
Only because that holder is distorting the image. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even looking there. Okay. Yeah. And I can make this guy a little bit bigger too, and I can reshape it and things like that. So back on the Documents and Links tab, if I want access to the Patriot Sketch, I just click Sketch. I want to jump out to your Patriot Web Pro product. Now notice here, I'm grabbing that particular record for that particular parcel that I have selected. So if I select this parcel and choose that link, it's going to bring me to that record. What we try to do is allow the user not to have to re-query and research. Not research, but research, okay? So we go back and forth. Yeah?
Maybe I'm jumping ahead here.
Go ahead.
Does your, on your overlay schemes here, does it work like, say, with all of it? Do you have a layer like, for example, zoning or wetlands or?
Yeah, they're right over here. Yeah. I'm gonna get to those in 1 minute,
Okay.
okay? Yeah? And then the property record card. is right here.
Your product. This
Yeah.
is your product.
This is my product, right? This is my property record card. All this is, by the way, all this information is just a nice, neat, formatted record of all this stuff. So this is the Patriot data that you push out, and when you run that tool, it updates,
Right.
okay? So the user has the ability to interact either with documents and links or the Patriot assessment data, okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the next thing we'll do, a common use of this tool is abutters. So what is an abutter in West Bridgewater? Does it vary? Last one I ran is
300.
300, okay. So the way this works is you have to have a parcel selected. I do here. I type in my distance I want to search, 300. and I search out, and there it just ran a query of everyone within 300 feet. I have a quick PDF report of that. You should literally do a butters list in less than a minute. So here's 300 feet, here's my subject, and here are all my butters. Okay? Also can print my mailing labels. Now the way this mailing label template works, this is the Avery 5160, and I can tell the application where I want to start printing my labels. So that if, say, this first row and these first couple are spent labels, I can say start printing there.
Gotcha,
And
you're right.
boom, yeah.
Nice.
All right, yeah. Couple things I want to point out with the abutters query. If you notice when I have my abutters search, let's say these are awful close, or let's say this one here, this one's awful close, I can refine that by this add remove. So if a parcel isn't selected, I can add it by selecting it.
Yeah.
If, let's say, these don't apply because they're across the street, I'm just making this up,
Sure.
Yeah.
then I click off them. That refines my results. Okay?
Good.
Get that?
Yeah. It's easy to use.
Daniela does the abutters list, she loves
Okay.
it, right, Daniela?
Good.
Takes a little more than 1 minute, but
Okay.
we'll get it down.
Well, you
to
got a
that.
heavy agenda tonight, so.
Yeah,
I will like to point out also that it works on negative numbers, so if I want to look at an approximate 50-foot setback, say I can run that, and now I can see what 50 feet looks like on this, which is probably a little bit more interesting if I turn on a base map, say the Google satellite base map, I can see about what 50
nice.
feet is inside that. Planners usually like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
look at the side.
Yeah, just to do some analysis, take a look around. Okay. So, zoom
So
in.
if you overlay, if there's a building sitting there, you overlay the side, the setback or sideline, you can see whether it conforms or not.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, keep in mind, it's only gonna be as accurate as the parcel data.
I
and the
understand.
par- Yeah. But yeah,
What's your
that's,
general degree of accuracy?
it varies based on what information was used to map it, whether we had a good stamped licensed land survey or an abutters description that says bounded on the north by Jones and the west by Smith, which we offer at those. So, okay, going through a couple more tools, I'm just zooming out so I can bring my street space map back. Trash can clears everything. Let's go on to layer control. Here's where I interact with the different layers on my map. Anywhere I see a plus sign, I open it up like an accordion.
Right.
Anywhere I see a checkbox, I turn it on like a light switch. That's your tax map grid
Yeah.
overlay. Turn it off. Couple things I want to point out here. Parcel lines, these are current to 1119. After the 1120 update is done, this will be changed to 2020. Okay? And the last time the assessment data was loaded, which was when we built the site, was January 119. So if that tool was installed and you ran it right now, I'd restart my browser and I'd see 9/18/19. So it keeps track of when the last time you pushed the Patriot data up. Okay? So these, these are just you explore on your own. You open them up, you see what the different symbology is, you turn them on, you turn them off. Okay? I do want to point out when we're using imagery, and I'll just use, here's where the MassGIS imagery is stored. Here's some 2015 MassGIS imagery. If you have, it's a cloudy day. Let's look at this. There we go. If you have some fill layers, some layers that fill, let's see, that's my DEP wetlands, if there are any around. There we go.
Yeah.
I can use this slider to see through them. Okay, which is
Cool.
really helpful if you're measuring or, panning and zooming around the map.
Yeah.
Okay?
Nice.
Yeah. Couple other quick things I want to point out. Let's slide that in. Can draw graphics on my map. So let's say I want to talk to John about this property, and we want to talk specifically about this back area behind here. Anyway, I'm making my own map.
Yeah.
When I print out a map, those graphics will be included, or I can take this link and share it with someone by sending them this little tiny URL. Okay? Go back here,
Excellent.
clear everything. Okay, so these are graphics tools. This isn't GIS data. This is just what I call dumb graphics. Okay? Because they don't have any intelligence. Measure. Everyone likes to measure. All right, so let me make up some measuring here. So 3 ways to measure. Measure an area. So let's say I want a rough idea if I were to start here, 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 And double click there. So that little shape I drew is 1.35 acres, or I have all these different other units of measure,
Nice.
square feet. Okay, I can clear that. Let's say I wanted to measure from this intersection to about the front of this house, how far it is. I click on my measure tool, and I click, and I click, and I click, and I click, and I double click to end. So that last segment was 163 feet, total segment's about 1,045.
I think that, on that measuring thing with the acreage will come in handy, because a lot of times we have debates over, on a larger parcel, how much is up, how much is wet. So we get like just a rough
Absolutely.
idea.
Great, and turn the aerial on underneath, how much is cut, how much isn't cut.
Right.
Yep, it's exactly what that's used for. This last way is coordinates, so I can actually click somewhere on the map. Sometimes you'll have a survey plan, or someone will bring you data that says, I know where this point is, and I click on the map, and here I have latitude and longitude coordinates of that, or degrees, minutes, seconds. Down here, there's a tool that works the opposite way. I can enter in my coordinates and drop a pin on the map. So you can do it both ways. You can click on the map and get the information, or you can type it in and drop a pin on the map. Okay? All right, so let's close this and move on. I talked about base map. Picture these as, or use these as they're just pictures behind the map. That's all they are, just plain old pictures behind the map. So we give you 3 buckets. We're a business partner of a company called ESRI. So these are all the base maps here, topo. A fan favorite here is the quadrangle sheet. So you can see all your parcel data and everything overlaid on that. Local, again, here's everything that we got from MassGIS or the city or town. And this is sort of the bucket of misfits here. The OpenStreetMap, the Google Maps.
Yeah.
Here's the standard Google hybrid map, or right here. This is the one that everyone's used to seeing. Okay?
And you can only lay one of those at a time.
Yeah, one base map at a time, but then you can interact with all these different
Yeah,
layers
you
while
can-
you're
yeah,
using
you
it.
can
Exactly.
Put multiple layers.
So,
on.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So picture the base map is underneath, and you have parcel data, and then all those other layers around. Okay? Close this. I feel like I'm going fast, and I apologize, but
No, it's okay.
slow me down if you need to. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
We're not
to the
going to learn
street
this
map.
in one night.
No, you're not, but I just want to give you an introduction to everything that's out there. And I'd be happy to come back if you need me to as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay? This tool I do want to talk about a little bit more, or pause. So remember I said before, grab your phone, go into the field. You're not going to search for Smith or 27 Pleasant Lane. You're going to click this button, and it's going to zoom you right to where you're standing on the earth. Okay, this is zoom to my location. The way that works is the first time you go to the site, it's going to say, Access GIS, that's the name of this product, wants to use your location. If you don't click allow, this won't work. So you have to click allow. Okay? Zoom to full extent, we talked about that. These are just memories of where I was in my zooms, back and forth. Kind of if I'm walking down a street, back and forth. I will zoom in a little bit more here and show you Street View. Product here, this button here. Click on a street for Street View. I get a lot of people wanting to, click out back here for Street View where there's no street, so you got to click on Street View. What we do here is we go out and fetch content that's in Google Street View or Bing Street Side. Bing Street Side is a Microsoft product. Google Street View is a Street View product. When you interact with this map and I turn the picture, look what's happening on my map here. See how it's keeping me grounded to where I'm looking? Or if I were to walk down the street and say, I want to look at that building, now I can see exactly what I'm looking at. And this moves as well. Okay? And then I could do the same with the street side. Really helpful tool. It doesn't replace going in the field, but I think it's a big time saver for if you want to get a picture of what's going on out in the field. Last button here, the print. Here's the way the print works. This yellow graphic here that just came up, it's resembling what's going to print on my page. So I can print 8.5 by 11 portrait of landscape or 11 by 17 portrait of landscape. So if I choose that, and then I type in tonight demo for a map title, with some spelling errors probably in there. I want to go 1 inch equals 150 feet, and I want to print a map. So I'm going to get a PDF. Custom title, custom scale, whatever layers I have turned on, right here.
Nice.
Okay, so you create your own maps. So that was a 20-minute, 15-minute demo of this platform. I could spend probably 5 hours talking about all that, all about the staff tools and what else you have, or I'd be happy to get deeper, or I can just take questions.
I'll start off with a couple of questions.
Sure.
Because we have some debugging to do, as you know, we're working on that now. But could you just show us the high school, which is right where you are?
Ooh, sorry.
Where you
Look
are.
at that tool, huh? These are right back
See the
there.
track?
Yeah.
We seem to have overlap, so if you could pull that down just a little bit, please, Tim.
You had to ask me a question, John, didn't you?
Take your time, take your time.
Okay, let me do this. I don't have any. Am I close if I go here? Here, let me, I think I just want to restart this browser.
This was the same type of problem I had using it at home too. Where
What's
it
that?
would just kind of not go where you want it to go and it would have
That's not
locked
good.
up.
That's not good.
No, no, that's not a good thing.
So what's going on here?
Broke.
It's your internet. It's easy thing to say, right?
Always blame the internet.
Reset.
I mean, everything was running good in the demo there. Okay, so where am I? Tell me here?
North Elm, right?
Yeah.
Start in on there,
Okay.
and then head
A little east of that.
east. You can see the track.
Oh, yeah, right here. So you want to zoom in there.
So,
Okay.
so as you can see, that's the new high school
Mm-hmm.
sitting on top of the old track. And the
Okay.
new track would be just about where the pointer is, along
Okay.
West Center Street.
Well, probably if we threw a. an
So that's
image up there.
so that's a bug that we found. So obviously, we make you aware of that. So you
Mhm.
can see the new track and the
Yeah.
new football field.
Sure. So this is a data edit. Let me just see what layer it's on. Okay, so you see the track go away? You see the track come back?
Mhm.
So these planimetrics here, this is a layer of ground features, street center lines,
Mhm.
edge of pavement, all that. That needs to be edited. That's a data edit. That's not an application issue.
Yep.
Okay, it's just like a property subdivision or something. We need to edit this layer of data.
So when we notify you when we do our annual
Exactly.
updates, this is an item.
Yeah,
that
you
we
would
remove.
communicate, exactly. Say, update it.
So our next favorite place is the central square of West Bridgewater, which is to the east. And you can see the 5 roads joining
Okay.
right there. So there seems to be some controversy as to what exists and what doesn't exist. So from the assessors, can you just show us the assessors map first? Well, we can start with this. So this is an illustration of the square, right? And that's the hexagonal area is a town statute.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the assessors parcels there. I know what you're getting at.
And the light green areas, I assume, are easements that were taken by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts when they realigned this road 4 years ago.
So what's your question then, John?
Yep.
So we can pretty much see in detail what's there. Now can you go to the assessors map only?
Yeah, you got one on your town website? Want me to jump to?
Well, if you remove the Google view, for example,
Oh,
these are the assessors maps, as the base map, correct?
yeah. These are the assessor's maps. So if I zoom out here and I take off
All
the
the-
aerial imagery and I
Exactly.
zoom down in here, I think this is what you're asking me to
That's
do.
what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Okay.
So that's the assessors map.
That's right.
Right.
And that's the detail of all the alignments in the area where the town monument would be,
It's right here.
right there, and the island where the traffic lights are. And can you tell us what the purple lines are?
Sure. Those are
I assume-
planimetrics right here. Road center lines.
I assume that's road center lines.
Yep.
And then the grayer lines to the left and right of the center lines, is that the as-built? Would that be the roadway? Would
That's-
that be the asphalt?
No, that's the right of way. The asphalt is a traveled way. Okay, so this is the right of way. See this? Let me just turn that off there just to visualize that. Okay, see, here's the traveled way.
Mhm.
Okay, this is what you and I drive on.
So that's the macadam.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. And here's what demarks the edge of the public right of way.
So-
Yeah.
So when the Commonwealth comes in and does their takings, the outside parameters would be,
Yeah, this is typically what, this is the edge.
The
of
right
the
of
public
ways.
right of way. Yeah.
so can we reasonably determine where the roadways are in relation to the right-of-ways? In other words, are they sometimes to the left of the right-of-way, sometimes to the right of the
Well,
right-of-way?
yeah, you can see.
If you can overlay the easements
you
on
can-
there, that.
Yeah, and here's the traveled way and the right of way. So I could pan here and I could say, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
Well, I
this
think
is,
you are.
this is the traveled way in the light gray. This is the center line of the traveled way in the purple, and this is the edge of the public right of way.
So if the director of municipal maintenance or the highway director comes into our office or goes online, looks at it themselves, they can get an idea of where the road is in alignment with the right-of-way
For planning and informational purposes only.
only.
Well,
I
so
appreciate the caveat.
Yeah, sure, I mean,
Your
there's all kinds
question,
of.
your question stands, like, some of these systems will overlay, the easements on there.
Sure.
That's what you're talking about, John, right?
That's part of
Yeah.
it. You can see the green areas, I
Yeah.
assume, are the easements.
Right,
Yeah.
so.
So this isn't intended to replace any land surveying
No,
or
no,
any
no.
engineer. This is a map viewer that's intended for informational purposes.
Yeah.
And remember, the data that's gone into compiling these parcels varies greatly. So, without
Any
a
other
true
databases?
stamped licensed land survey or land surveying on the ground, you can say approximately.
That's what every
Of
assessor's
course.
map says, for
Yeah.
assessment purposes
Not for
only.
legal conveyance, yeah.
The good thing here, Tim, about this stuff is that, like, John, when we first started using the Mass Shed, the Oliver system,
Oh,
like, it was like trying to open up a safe 15 years ago, then it becomes a lot more user-friendly. So if the person goes into this, if you don't know a real lot about it, you can play with some of these things, kind of get an idea, even though you might not have the expertise.
Yeah, and the more you use it, like any software, the more you use it, the better
To
you'll
play
get
it,
at it,
yeah, yeah.
So can you type in Pearl Road as a search, please?
Per?
Then Pearl. And then I'll open it up if anybody has any questions.
Okay, so I only typed in Pearl, so if there's a Pearl Street, a Pearl Drive, whatever, they're gonna come up, okay?
Pick
Yeah.
anyone. Pick anyone, it'll take us to the subdivision. If you can zoom out a little bit.
I'm trying to get away from that. Zoom out more?
No, that's pretty good.
Okay.
This was an issue that came up as a bug, but it looks correct here.
So when you say bug, we need to really understand the difference between a data issue and an application issue.
Data issue.
Yeah, data issue, that's, that would be, okay, does the map need to be updated? Does the Patriot data need to be changed? Or does this button not work? That's an application issue.
Okay.
Okay.
And while we're on the subject of that, when we were talking about the track,
Yeah.
and that's something that obviously it's not,
Data
has anything to do
maintenance.
with you guys. But when are we gonna upload changes? So the track can disappear
Well,
from,
we do our map revisions every year,
Yeah.
so
the question is when though? When are we gonna send with where we're doing this software now?
we're doing the revisions now. We're doing them now, so when they're done, then we upload it.
Do you have a ballpark time?
This is September, tax billing season, probably within a couple months.
So by the end of November, roughly?
Probably.
All
Which
right.
makes me think of another question. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, this obviously hasn't gone live.
It hasn't gone out to the public.
Right, to the
I am demoing it live though.
Uh,
Yeah.
In the one-year cycle that we have the license, other than the map revisions that we contract for, can we notify you of bugs that we find, data
Oh,
issues that we
sure.
find?
Yeah.
And what's,
Yep, so
How
the,
many-
the data issues that you find, those will be corrected throughout the year, but the data will only be refreshed one time a year.
a year? Okay.
Okay? But you can, anytime you want, you can send us, hey, this is wrong, hey, here's a boundary line adjustment, but we're gonna snapshot it current to January 1, because that's the
Right.
assessment year.
Very good. Okay.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
So just to make sure I understand. So if we find something else after the fact, you'll fix it, but it's not gonna be it's not gonna be something like the residents would be able to then see?
Right, it's not something that we're gonna publish on the site until the end of the next assessment year. Correct.
Which is similar to Patriot Properties. We only update
It's locked for the
database once a
assessment
year.
year.
That's how it has to be, right?
Okay, no, I'm just making sure I
Yeah, so you
understand.
know the
because
life cycle, yeah.
Because I know people might have questions on that as well. Thank you.
All set?
Does the public have any questions?
You guys all know jazzed up about the mapping? All right, well, thank you. I'm always here too, I mean, I'm not always here, but where I'm always around this area, don't hesitate, please. Department head meetings, I'd be more than happy to come back.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Does the wetlands mapping, is that the equivalent of Oliver?
Let's see.
So with Oliver, you can get different layers as to what types of wetlands they are?
It depends on what the town offers, the Mass GIS. Different communities have more interaction with that than other communities.
Yeah, so this layer that I'm showing here right now, can you see through my
Yeah, I can't
Big-
really see what the names are on
big
the,
squash?
on the colors. No, you're.
Okay, so this is a statewide layer, so we're
Okay.
fetching
Yeah.
this from Mass GIS, okay? I could pan out to Stockbridge or to Boston, okay? So here's the legend based on wetland type. This comes from the Department of Environmental Protection, but it's what we're fetching from Mass GIS, which that's what Oliver's consuming as well.
So it has the coniferous and all of those different types there. You can
We
see
got
them.
marsh bog, wooded marsh.
It's pretty
cranberry.
much the same as Oliver.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stockbridge to Boston. It's James Taylor.
Huh?
James Taylor. We good?
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, you're
Thanks, Tim.
very welcome. Thank
Appreciate
you.
that,
Yeah.
quick overview.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you guys as well.
Looks pretty informative, it's good.
Yourself under. Yeah, it's a great way to get your data out there.
Well,
So I'll just
it's a great way to
write
build
down
up fees. I'm a full-time commercial fee appraiser. It's a great way to
Oh, so
build up fees in appraisals, you know?
In your living room in your slippers, right?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll try to be as quiet breaking my stuff down here.
So just a
We're gonna
couple,
plug these, all set?
Yeah, please, thanks. Thank you.
so I just have a couple of announcements, Mr. Chairman. I supplied all the members with a West Bridgewater Planning Board meeting schedule for 2019 and 2020. There's also a notice of a public hearing of the planning board scheduled for October 16th in the McDonald Brown Conference Room on Meadow Spring subdivision, Meadow Spring Drive. Also, the minutes of the August 21st planning board meeting are in your
Okay.
packet. There will be a Massachusetts Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness State Program on Wednesday, September 25th, at the Public Library at 10:30 a.m. if you're interested.
Okay.
The Massachusetts Association of Assessing Officers Annual Clerks Meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 16th, at the Venus de Milo in Swansea. Both the clerical staff members have expressed an interest in going. I have authorized their attendance unless you have some objection.
No, no.
I'll cover the office that day. The Plymouth County Assessors Association is having a roundtable discussion on Thursday, September 26th at 9 a.m. in Hanson. They're also having a chapter land tour on Wednesday, October 23rd at the Carver Town Hall. They're also having a Plymouth County Registry of Deeds tour on Thursday, November 14th at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. And their annual association meeting will take place on Thursday, December 5th at the Rockland Golf Course. The only other items on the business for open session, a policy review and rollover. Member Smith isn't here. Unless there's any objection, I'd like to table those until the board's next meeting when you have a full board.
Sure,
And
that's fine.
you have correspondence, you have some bills and warrants for payment here. You If you could sign those, and there's some motor vehicle excise abatements, if you could sign those. I don't have any minutes, although I sent some to you the other day.
Right.
But again, since Clerk Smith isn't here, she might want to review them. So I would defer that until the next meeting. Other than that, I don't know if the attorney is here for his 6:15 appointment.
Well,
Other
Go ahead.
other than that,
He's coming
Even
from
if-
Waltham or something, so he might, yeah.
you might,
check.
even if the attorney doesn't appear, I do have some items I would like to discuss with the board in executive session, applications for abatement
Yeah,
relative to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, under purpose number 7, and to discuss strategy of appellate tax board cases under Mass General Law 59, Section 60, purpose 3 and 7, because to do so in open session could have a detrimental effect on the board's litigating position.
okay.
Before we go into that, I have a couple questions about some stuff that was mentioned.
I'm just gonna, go right ahead, I'm just gonna look in the hallway to see if
No, it's all right, I'll wait.
Attorney Gaines is here. He's not here.
Okay, what do you got, Paula?
As far as the rollover, and I don't have a problem waiting because Cheryl's not here, because I wouldn't want something to be voted on without me being here, so I don't have any objection to carrying it over one more time. But I do have a couple of questions. When I asked for the documentation and how you came to it, I thought you would have provided maybe like how you came up with that number, but I didn't have anything in there as to how you came up with, you know, example, I used X amount of days this year, I feel like this many carried over. There wasn't any breakdown.
I sent you all of my timesheets for the last 3 years, and I would expect you probably would do the same thing that I did, and that was count all of the days that were vacation days and add them up.
Right, but I'm not the one asking for 28 days, so I would think that you would provide that so we could make an educated decision that,
Since it's not gonna be discussed tonight, I can provide that at the next meeting.
well, it would be
That,
helpful if I could have it before then.
That, on the, what you mentioned might be changed. We have, with Assessor Smith's not here, we have, I've been in discussion upstairs regarding that whole process. So I'm not sure exactly on this tabulation of rollover days, where we stand with that. But we do, we have a policy that's gonna be instituted, and John's gonna write it up, and then we're gonna vote on it. So I'm not sure, I don't know the exact rollover days in the past few years, what the calculation is. But we have hopefully a definitive answer going forward where it'll be pretty straightforward. I saw the thing in 28 days, and I didn't really, get into that too much like you probably did. But I, once, at our next meeting, hopefully, we'll have a more definitive, I've been upstairs talking about, upstairs, I got something in writing on the direction I'm gonna go to. But where we table that, I'll wait till Assessor Smith is here to fully discuss that. But I'm not sure where his previous tabulations are gonna come into play or not.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'd like to see where they come into play. So if it's something we're gonna consider, then I'd like to see where it's coming from.
All right. Why don't we wait until we discuss this and see exactly, in fact, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. I don't know, on the tabulations, how they're gonna come into play, but we should wait till she's here and we'll go forward with those discussions. Because when she comes here, it's still not gonna be a done deal. You're gonna have to put something in writing to the board and we're gonna have to vote on it, based on the policy I was given upstairs. So we'll discuss that, if you wanna call it detail or whatever, when Assessor Smith is here. And then we can get it done in one night and have them put it in writing, go from there.
It doesn't sound like it's gonna be done in one night.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, question from the floor?
No, thank you.
That's rude.
So, we decided to table this matter until the next meeting, if you have some questions for John
What
regarding
possible
tabulations.
reason would you have for ignoring a question from the floor?
I'm trying to talk, please, all
Well,
right?
you weren't when he asked.
I was in the middle of talking to her and John. I was gonna direct the question to John if he'd let me.
So it's just later, you'll recognize him when you're done?
No,
You won't.
no.
He's a citizen of this town, he has a question.
Yeah, and he can have a question. When we bring this matter up for the full discussion with the full board here, then we can have that open
You don't even
session.
know what he's asking about. You just rudely told him
No,
no.
he said he had,
Have any
I
respect
thought
for
he
the
said he had a
citizens of
question,
this town?
I thought he said he had a question on what we're
I was seeking
discussing.
clarification, you kept referring to upstairs. Who were you speaking to is my question.
The human resource officer.
Thank you.
So, when Smith comes back, then we can, I'll discuss what we have in writing, and then we'll go from there. Okay?
All right, but I think it's still important to know where all these dates are coming from. So I don't think I'm out of line with just asking.
No, I didn't say you were out of line.
No, I understand you're not saying.
I didn't say you were out of line,
No,
Paul.
I understand that,
I'm
but
saying
that's
that.
the impression I'm getting because you're rolling your eyes at me.
No,
while
because when we get what we're gonna talk about, it's gonna be a set amount of carryover days, plus the vacation time that is entitled to, so it should be pretty straightforward with the calculations. And I'm not really rolling my eyes, but I said I'd like to discuss this when Smith is here, so we can, go forward as a full board.
No, I understand that, and I support doing more of it when Cheryl is here because I would expect the same courtesy given to me.
Right, exactly.
But I'm just simply asking for something to be provided as to where the 28's coming from. And
Stay tuned. That's all I can say.
Well, we did the calculations to come up with the 28 in the first place, right? You've got to have them somewhere.
I'm not here to have a debate, Mr. Chairman.
It's not a debate, it's a simple statement of fact. You must have done the calculations.
We'll table the matter, right, and then if the calculations,
I mean, if what you're doing is legitimate and not trying to yank somebody out.
Again, we've tabled the matter and we'll have the discussion. And if the tabulations come into play, we can do that.
You're amused by the fact that I'm upset about
I
this.
find you amusing because of your erroneous assumptions.
I find it amusing you're gonna write the policy that states how you roll over days. I find it amusing that
Well,
you're
you-
asking for 28 days and you can't even show us where
I
it
find
comes
it
from.
amusing that you don't even know what you're talking about.
I've been here for these meetings and I know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know anything
He's
about
not-
assessing, but maybe
he's
you
not-
don't either.
He's not writing, the policy's already been written, he's not writing nothing. He's gonna put it in writing to agree to it, so, it's already been written.
Oh, okay, that's more.
Yeah, okay. He's not writing, he's gonna, he's gonna be told what to say in that, if he decides to do so, what the policy is, and he's gonna put it in writing to the board after, basically, it's said to him what the policy is, and then that's it. He's not making up the policy, no, by no means. Sorry if that was a misinformed mistake on my part, but he's not making no policies.
That makes sense.
Okay?
There's a motion. I think there was a motion, Mr. Chairman.
To continue
To go
that.
into executive session.
No, I asked
Oh,
questions, we
okay.
didn't get that far.
Go ahead, Paula.
I guess I'm getting
Yeah,
into
Paula, go ahead if you've got more questions.
Well, no, we just didn't get that far. We weren't being interrupted. People had questions. What else did I have here? So we're not gonna talk about the minutes, correct? That John had emailed out. We're tabling that to the next.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah. I have no problem with them.
That's just a motion to approve.
Well, no, because I have some concerns with them, so I just wanna
Okay,
make
yeah.
sure that that's what we're doing. That we're tabling them until Cheryl's here.
I didn't know we were doing that, but we can do that. I'll make a motion to table the minutes, the discussion on the minutes says, what were they, John, the August 3rd? August 16th or whatever?
September 4th, I believe.
Okay, yeah. All right, we'll make a motion to discuss those as we see for the next meeting when Assessor Smith is here. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor? Aye.
and I think I had, oh, and just one other thing, John, I'm just curious. I got the email from you yesterday about signing for the community preservation surcharge. And you said your email signed it at my convenience. But I went to go take care of it today and it's already closed.
I waited until the end of the day yesterday.
Okay, but your email didn't say that you needed it done today. You just said at your earliest
Earliest
convenience.
convenience, that's correct.
So if it's something that needs to be done the same day, if you could shoot me a text or put that specifically in the email. I mean, I understand that we were already 2 days late on it, but a heads up would have been reasonable. If you don't mind.
I thought it was a heads up to ask you to sign it at your earliest convenience.
Right, at your earliest convenience. That doesn't tell me that you need to have
You
it signed.
responded within an hour, but you couldn't sign it.
No, because I didn't go into it. I looked at it on my phone.
I will ask more specifically.
Yeah,
Sign it now, please.
All right, but other times you have done that. You have emailed me saying that it needs to be done right away.
It's not a problem.
Or you've called me or texted me or something, and
Why is this
absolutely.
an issue? She's a member of the board, she's your boss, she's asking you to do something, just freaking do it. When she asks you for how you did the math on your days off, just give it
Are
to
you
her.
usually this civil in
Only when I
society?
see idiocy operating in front of me. Who's running this meeting, the chairman or you?
So you are a
Who's in
genius,
charge?
too.
Who's in charge
So
here?
That's good.
Right now, you're both out of order, if I just may refer to.
I agree.
Well,
But I'm not the chairman.
that's
No, you're
why
the
you usually
employee.
just remain quiet.
I'm not gonna get into a contest about
You're the
this.
employee.
I know my status, thank you.
Paul, is that it for your questions, or all set?
Well, and just the only other thing as far as minutes, we're pretty up to date with the open session minutes, but when I looked quickly, it looked like executive session we haven't done for a very, very long time.
I think I included those on Monday.
The one I got was for just the meeting we just had, September 4th. But there's a lot more past ones that there's nothing.
Yep, that's correct.
So there's nothing on any of them that can be released.
Well, we do review them from time to time, and we can review them again.
All right, because I think it was like over a year. I could be mistaken on that, but I believe it was over a year since we've done executive
That's part of the
session.
reason why having Daniela come and take minutes, because I've been doing them for a year, and I'm really not required to do them, but I have been.
No, and which is great, and I've offered to do them before and help. But Cheryl and Steve both have brought up many times, we are always concerned of open meeting law violations, which I understand, but that is one that we should also then be concerned of.
We can review them anytime, and we do review them from time to time.
From year to year.
Well, no, I understand that, but I'm just pointing out that we haven't done it and posted any executive ones for, I believe, over a year. And I could be wrong on that, but I believe it's over a year.
I'll just start repeating myself at this point, which I prefer not to do.
That would be great.
You all set?
For now, yes, thank you.
We all set for executive session?
And we had just the policy review. What are we doing with that?
The policy review regarding what, the rollover?
No,
I suggested that we defer that, table that until
Right,
Member Smith is here also.
yeah. You want a motion on that?
I think we're supposed to.
Okay, yeah, I get caught up in the thing now. I'll make a motion to table the open session meeting regarding the policy on John's vacation rollover time until the full board can get involved with it and make a decision, and we'll go forward from there. I'd probably hopefully be the next meeting. I don't know what the date is, and we can get into that then.
Okay, and that one's fine, but I thought the policy review was the one that you had handed out before, that the board's not allowed to look at anything in the office.
So you don't talk about rollover time?
No, I'm not talking about rollover time.
There are several that will be pending and proposed.
All right,
The
should
other one
we?
will be on vacation time, which has been a contentious issue.
All right, but then shouldn't we have it, I mean, I'm just curious, but shouldn't we have it more laid out? Because I mean, I know the selectmen and other boards, they have things more detailed out. Because I thought policy review was that one about the board not having access to any of the records in the office. So that's what I thought it was, but you're saying that that's actually several
One of
policies.
several.
All right, but shouldn't they be broken out then on the agenda?
That's up to the chairman. Chairman dictates the agenda. I don't see any reason to do it either way. I mean, I don't think there's any compelling reason to,
Unless it's some topic like the vacation time
Discussions.
discussion, right?
or not listen, I mean, the issue is to inform the public that a discussion on policy will take place.
Right, but if you're saying there's gonna be several policies, shouldn't we have them broken out as to what policies we're discussing to be more?
That's not my decision to make, Paula. I'm not the chairman.
Yeah.
Well, I understand you're not the chairman, but I know Steve depends on you, and you've always taken, not control of it, but you've always handled it. So I'm asking you, shouldn't we have them broken out more?
And I'm saying you're asking the wrong person. As you know, I call the chairman, I ask the chairman if.
That's how we've always done it, right?
wants to
We'll leave it
have
like that for
items put on
now.
the
If there's something
agenda.
open for, if there's some topic open for discussion, again, like the rollover, then we can, split that out and talk about it. But in a general sense on the policy issues, that's how we've done that in the past, that's how we'll keep it.
Comment from the floor, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry?
Comment from the floor, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Under the open meeting law, any agenda item must provide sufficient specificity to inform the public about what the topic is.
Right.
Policy review is far too broad. At a minimum, I would suggest that each individual policy to be identified specifically. If you wanted to do it under a subheading, policy review, bullet point, that would
Yeah.
be fine, or one individual. But right now, in my opinion, this is a particular open meeting law violation if a policy had been discussed, or more than one policy had been discussed at this time.
We were discussing one policy, the John's contractual obligation to roll over time. The other stuff I'm not really sure about, so I don't know what to say.
So, just a caution.
Well, can I just ask you then a question, just for your 2 cents?
Sure.
Under, how we have it under the principal assessors report, should we have more detail, like you said, a subtitle and then just bullet points?
I would say by my understanding under the open meeting law, absolutely. That provides no information to the public about what announcements are being made, what updates are being provided. Announcement and update is far too a nebulous phrase. There would have to be specific items identified with sufficient particularity so the public would understand what was being provided in the meeting.
So more like the way the selectmen have theirs, because I think the selectmen have theirs broken out more.
Yes, they usually do.
Okay. All right, I have no more questions for you then. Thank you.
Okay, I'm all set.
All right, I think that was it for me.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we move into executive session for the reasons that John stated previously regarding abatement discussions and the attorney if he's here. I'll need a roll call confirmation of that. Moving to executive session.
Yes.
McCarthy, yes.